Okay, so U-24. What are they? They're this guys. U-24. Maybe you've seen it. Have you seen this, chat? The power of freedom. Freedom. That's an imperial red flag right there. On the initiative of the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, the main venue for collecting charitable donations in support of Ukraine. Here's their website. Mr. Fancy Pants, welcome in. Anyways, so here it is, and they got Mark Hamill. These are the drones you're looking for. Join Mark Hamill and the army of drones. Pictures from him in Star Wars. Become a hero.
What do movies teach us? Movies teach us that during the most difficult times in history, when evil attacks good, when darkness attacks light, superheroes always come to the rescue. But in reality, things are not like in the movies. There are no superheroes wearing capes, Jedi Knights, time machines, or magic wands. Instead, there are millions of real people standing up to real evil. And they all need real support.
Who's the evil guys?
We can help
Mark.
them. Even when we're far, far away, we can join their fight. I call on you to support the brave Ukrainians who are standing up to evil right now, and join the fundraiser for 10 Hydrant drones that will help perform reconnaissance missions. Each of your donations brings the victory of light over darkness closer, making each one of us a little bit of a superhero.
God, I can't roll my eyes harder. Just... Ugh. Fucking shit. So that's what he does, and he helps raise money for drones. Right? You get the idea? Okay. Well, they had another video. Why don't they do this for healthcare?
During the first months of full-scale war, Russia had total superiority in heavy vehicles and tanks. To counter this, the Ukrainian army adopted bold and daring tactics of fighting in small but highly mobile groups, often using civilian cars. Many of those cars were donated by people around the globe. Adam, a British citizen living in LA, is an owner of an animation studio in California. He already bought 3 pickups, gave them an artistic touch, and volunteered to deliver one of them to the soldiers in the Donetsk region.
It's 6 a.m. and we're just fueling up the vehicles, getting ready to drive another few hours.
Yo, if we ever see a fucking Punisher on some sort of like cop, if a cop had a patch of a Punisher, we would know they were a fascist.
Drop off both the cars with the Ukrainian armed forces.
I mean, that's pretty damning right there, the red and black colors.
After crossing the Polish-Ukrainian border, pickup trucks get transferred
another red and black.
To a joint initiative.
Wait, what was that on the back of the window there? Hold up, who's that guy?
Here the trucks undergo a serious revamp process.
There it is. Stepan Bandera. Done. If you don't know already, you need to know that Stepan Bandera's troops would go on to kill 100,000 Poles and 50,000 Jews. Stepan Bandera was a Nazi collaborator. His troops helped commit the Holocaust, you guys. When they say Slava Ukraini, they say, glory to Ukraine. And then they say, Heroiam Slava, which means glory to the heroes. These are the people that they're referring to. Then sometimes they say, I can't remember the Ukrainian version, but they literally say Ukraine over all or something like that, right? Deutschland über alles. Slava Ukraini is a literal Nazi war cry that they've adopt it for themselves. You guys, this is the biggest red flag you can imagine. In Chicago, if you remember when the special military operation began, and there was a huge outcrying of liberal support, and there were rallies and stuff. By the way, there were no rallies when the Ukrainian forces were bombing the Donbass for 8 years, killing 14,000, indiscriminately shelling civilians. No, there was no... And yes, it was in Ukrainian Village at the church over there. Yup. You may remember that. I wish I could find pictures that I took at the time. Well, here's what happened in Chicago. The governor. Oh, this guy is, I think this guy is one of the OUNB guys. The governor, the mayor were there. There are red and black Banderite flags in the background. In the background, there was a guy with a red and black Banderite flag with, yep, Bandera's face emblazoned on it and his name. So they make the connection for you. They make the connection for you. That's what that flag means. It's a Banderite flag. And the guy holding it looks like a piece of shit cop, too. How many lawsuits has have the taxpayers of Chicago had to pay out to cover that guy's bullshit, right? In Toronto, Chrystia Freeland is standing with the mayor of Toronto in front of a Slava Ukraini Banderite scarf. Oops. Anyways, so Bandera. Now, Mark Hamill takes a video. Children of the Ukrainian military adore Star Wars, so they've asked Mark Hamill what his favorite film is from the saga. Listen to his answer. You guys, in the thumbnail. You could see it in the thumbnail. It's right there, red and black, blood and soil.
Я хотів почати з висловлювання вдячності за ваш внесок в очі
небі,
який допомагає нам в боротьбі проти імперії в Україні.
We are all like Luke Skywalker, the Chewbacca, Leia, and Han Solo, the famous Jedi. We are fighting for a better future, just like all of them did in the movies. Like, well, me even having like...
They think it's like a movie, you guys.
Leia vibes now a little
It's simply
bit
not
now.
like a movie.
Well, I think our movie was very relatable because it was basically a fable or a fairy tale for children.
I need the video of the directors. I need the George Lucas video where he's talking with the other director about their movies. Anyone have that handy?
Children. And like he says, it portrayed someone who didn't have any particular skills. You know, Luke was just a farm boy, but by
Get the fucking force, homie.
following his heart and doing the right thing, not for himself, but for all the people, he was able to succeed in a
He's not looking at the top frame right here. He's simply not looking.
way that he never could have expected.
Also, I have a question. It's a question from my kids, because I have 3 kids, and every kid I'm growing up, we're going from the Star Wars story. And
He literally had a special bloodline.
my girls asked me,
Pepela.
what's your favorite film out of your filmography?
I also have 3 children. 2 of them like Star Wars. My middle son is like, it's not for me.
Kid doesn't
But in
like
terms of
Star Wars.
I was impressed with Empire Strikes Back because it was deeper and more cerebral. It's not hard to see the parallels between the Ukrainians being the rebels and Russia being the evil empire. It's obvious.
Thank you, Undead. I think so.
If
I mean,
we talk
maybe.
about your career and your films, so the drones helps us to find the plans of the Death Star and they find the weak point where we can attack the enemy and
Yes, with James Cameron,
occupy
perfect.
our territory.
Well, thank you, and keep up the good fight. You're fighting the good fight. You're doing a great job.
The music's so touching.
You're winning, and I know the force is with each and every
Oh
one
my God, so cringe.
of you. So, fight on.
He goes, it was a pleasure meeting with the brave Ukrainian drone operators. Brave Ukrainian drone operators. Those words don't really belong together. So brave to stand behind your controller, huh? Remote control killer is so brave. Oh, you were in Ukrainian village. Saw a cutie look like Dolph Lundgren. I called him Ivan Drago, and he cursed me out. Was he doing a Russophobia? I don't know. Damn. Oh, jeez. Oh, God. I don't know. There's a lot to unravel there. And the double down. And the double down. Yep, here's the double down. My favorite sandwich. Is this the same one? Yep, he goes, I have no idea. People are like, Mark, I'm a big fan. And it's terrifying to see you not acknowledging the very obvious flag in the video. I understand if you didn't recognize it. I know lots of people might not have, but it's been pointed out to you a lot, and your silence is really painful. He knows what it is. He knows what it is. Oh no, you having to watch a military ad? That blows. I'm sorry. So he goes, I have no idea what it means, what that flag signifies, and he doesn't care. My support is simply for Ukraine over the Russian invasion, period. He pretty much says, I have no idea, and I don't care. All right, so what I want to do is spend some time going over some of the better takes and the worst takes here regarding this. I've just pulled up a bunch of links, and we're just going to talk about them. You know? Hey, maybe you should try to inform yourself before getting actively involved in a complex geopolitical conflict. Yeah. Daniel Dumbrill chiming in. He says, I've no idea about the ins and outs of what I'm supporting. All I know is that I support it. Yep, this is the State Department's definition of the perfect American citizen. Here's one of the worst takes. Actually, it wasn't a take. It was just John Fugelsang liking what's his name's tweet, liking Mark Hamill's response that he says, I don't know what it is. I just support Ukraine, period. Lived up John Fugelsang. Loser shit. Let's drag him. Let's drag him. Okay. Okay, you all. If literally nobody, not even the most whitewashed and sanitized and sanctioned spokespeople, can get any imagery of Ukrainian forces that doesn't feature Nazi iconography, the fuck you think that means? Right? They can't stop taking pictures of Nazis. They can't do it. Well, you know what we should do? We should talk about the flag, right? We need to talk about the flag. Let's get like someone's got a screen cap here somewhere. Here. All right, zoom. Computer, zoom. Enhance. What do we got here? Red and black Banderite. 9 and an 8. That's maybe the battalion or whatever number. And it's got an arrow that goes up. Okay? Keep that in mind. Keep all that stuff in mind, okay? So it looked like the Sonnenrad. I know there's very few pixels. It looks like the Sonnenrad, but it's not. It's called a Kolovrat. Kolovrat. It's a sun-shaped swastika. So it is a swastika. It's just sun-shaped. It's like the Sonnenrad plus the swastika. Jesus Christ. Motherfucker. It is not, it's not the Sonnenrad. It's more like this. Because they don't touch. They don't touch.
With the cocks touching.
They don't touch. You can see they're separated, you know? So it's more like this, but the opposite direction. Neo-Nazis and neo-pagans claim this symbol has ancient Slavic origin. Oh, They're not Nazis, you guys. They're neo-pagans. We should have known that. Don't let these Totenkopfs and the Siegheilen, don't let the Goose Steppen distract you. They're neo-pagans, you guys. Likely appeared in the 1920s, been actively used since the 1990s. The symbol's arms can point left or right. Far-right groups in a number of Slavic countries, mainly Russia and Ukraine, use the kolovrat in place of a swastika. Are you getting it yet? Additionally, there's a rune on there. A little arrow that goes up. That's a rune, you guys. You know who loves runes? Nazis! They love their symbols. That's how they identify each other. They can't just throw on a swastika. They have to be a little bit more under the radar about it. This is a Thor rune. Yeah. It's a rune in the alphabet. Comes from the ancient German script used in modern-day Scandinavia and British Isles. The rune symbolizes the god Thor. That's very fashy. That's very Nazi stuff. One of the most employed symbols among modern-day neo-Nazis. The Tyr or Thor rune is used to denote a continuation of the struggle and victory of Nazi Germany. How about that? Members of the far right in various countries use it widely as an indicator of Nazi, neo-Nazi, and racist views. It's often associated with the most aggressive neo-Nazis. Well, I think we should just debate them, you know? Bring them onto the hippy-dippy and just hash it out. Ukrainian fascists really coming up with some new obscure neo-Nazi flag design every other week. What is that all about, right? It's clearly a kolovrat and Tyr, and the 98, I don't know, over a UPA flag, the Banderite flag. Wild how fascist symbols get casually legitimized. I've been talking about this. But seriously, what neo-Nazi flag factory makes all these? Exactly. It's exhausting keeping up, yeah. They're going to have another one next week. It's all ham, no sick. This is why familiarizing yourself with commonly used hate symbols is good practice. You'll maybe rarely find yourself accidentally sympathizing with Nazis. Hopefully never. Hopefully never. Hopefully never. Mark Hamill admitting he has no idea who he's collaborating with, but he still insists on supporting these Ukrainian Nazis. Incredible. There it is, Kaiser. The Slavic swastika, the kolovrat, used by Slavic fascist losers. You got it. You got it. He remembers not working in the 90s when he was doing the Joker. You guys, we made him turn into the Joker because he wasn't getting work. Mark probably forgot what the origins of Star Wars was, what George Lucas was inspired by. Before anyone makes any snide Russian imperialism remarks, it's not. The United States considers its theater of operations to be the entire planet with 800 plus military bases dotting the globe. Thank you, Undead Logic. Right, so the U.S. were the invaders. Okay. But the U.S. isn't invading Ukraine right now. They're not involved in this war. Right? It's a U.S. proxy war in Ukraine against the Russians, right? So it's not the same as the U.S. invading. But they do that so that they can blame Russia on the invasion. Thing, you fucking idiot. It's what it's meant to be. It's wrong. The whole thing that the United States is meant to be is fucked up. The new American the project for what is that? The new American century, and then a project for a new American century. You guys, this is all. It's like Marshall Fund. It's Truman Doctrine. It's all connected. This is a little slow on the uptake there. Vietnamese peasants, the short of it's everything is a Western lie. Even Viet Cong is a lie. It's Viet Minh. We'll have to check that out. I'm a big fan. So this is what happens when people who like misunderstand imperialism or colonialism, they'll be like, oh, you have to oppose the Russian imperialists because they're invading. It's like, that's not how we look at this, actually. That's not how we look at this conflict. Because if actually you were to oppose imperialism, you'd look at this conflict and you'd ask yourself, who's doing the most imperialism? I think you're wrong if you think Russia's doing an imperialism here. But we can obviously see that the United States is fucking around in Ukraine, has been since at least 2014. And we're across an entire sea, whereas Russia is right on their border. These two things do not compare. And the United States has been fucking around and arming far-right fascists and Nazis in Ukraine for the last 8 years. They've gone back and forth because obviously arming Nazis is a little bit tricky. And they've escalated every step of the way. The West has escalated every single step of the way. And then they're going to blame any Russian retaliation or whatever. They're going to call that escalation. So the United States, through imperialism, has been dragging Ukrainians into this war for the last 9 years now. They want to say Ukraine is a sovereign country, but if you know anything about the 2014 coup, you know that it's not. It's a puppet government. So that's why they have to so virulently make that Ukraine is a sovereign country argument, because otherwise, well, what if it wasn't a sovereign country? You're saying that it would be okay for Russia to invade? It's sort of weird how they sort of say the opposite in their argument, right? If you oppose imperialism, you oppose what the United States has done every step of the way, but they don't. They do this thing where they're like, well, I thought you were an anti-imperialist. Mark, I am your father. So, U.S. liberals need to believe wars have a good side and a bad side, like in Hollywood. But most of the time, there are only two bad sides. Like when the Empire was mopping up the last of the separatists. Ukrainian army video without a Nazi flag, impossible challenge. Am I right? Like, they cannot stop posting the Nazi flags. And they've been doing this since the beginning of the war. Do you remember when NATO themselves posted a video on International Women's Day of like 4 different pictures? One of them was a Ukrainian fighter, a woman who had a Sonnenrada patch right on her chest. Every time, dude. They simply can't stop. Social media put an end to the movie star as part of our culture. Thanks to Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, we know how utterly loathsome these celebrities really are. That is arguably one of the best parts about social media. We found out that the people that we look up to are desperately mediocre.
Mediocre! Mediocre!
They've got bad takes and bad politics. And most of them are quite liberal. Never meet your heroes. Just best not to have any. Except for me. Like and subscribe. So brave to sit in an air-conditioned unit miles from the battle. Is that what they do? Ukraine's neo-Nazi Azov battalion attempts rebranding. Oh, yeah. They changed the... They say they changed the Azov logo, but you still see the... You still see the Nazi symbol everywhere. The Panzer S. You see it everywhere. I simply don't buy it. They've rebranded. Yeah. How many of these guys are dead, you know? People will be like, I've heard people tell me that this Nazi flag is a Photoshop. And I'm like, okay, is this a Photoshop? Is this a Photoshop? Is that a Photoshop? Even the NATO flag is pretty fascist in this context. It's Photoshop. Okay, sure. They just totally ignore the rest of the picture. Mark's pretending he doesn't know what this flag signifies, and yet people are all over his replies telling him. He's acting stupid. He's feigning ignorance. This isn't even willful ignorance of Nazi symbolism. This is how a Nazi sympathizer tries to ride the fence. And really not a good haircut if you're going to try to beat the Nazi charges, you know? Yeah, but when he's told and then he digs in. He just digs in. Oh, I don't know what it is. I just support the Ukrainians. Yeah, well, which ones? What are the Ukrainians that you support, dickhead? Star Wars was once a parallel to communists fighting against imperialism for their liberation. Mark's forgotten this if he ever knew it. It seems like he never sat down and had that conversation with George Lucas. If he did, he was the James Cameron. He's just lived up, you know? Scratch a liberal and a fascist bleeds. This is a perfect example of what we mean by that. Maybe if we start a mass cancellation of Disney Plus accounts, they'll acknowledge the Nazi hype train Mark Hamill's on. Disney, Robert Iger, why is one of your biggest stars supporting white nationalism? Why did Jon Stewart award a medal to Nazis at your park? Okay. That's not going to get the job done. I just need you to know. But yes, Jon Stewart literally praised a Nazi and he gave him a medal. This guy's got a Nazi Sonnenrad tattoo on his elbow. Funny enough, he put a sleeve on when he met Jon Stewart. It's easier for him to deny and feign ignorance than admit he was wrong. Yo, when it's with Nazi stuff, how are you going to admit you're wrong? I don't know what 92 is. That's a question I had too. I don't know. Let me know if anyone knows about that. You know what the funny thing is? You know what's hidden on this image? You know what's sort of hidden? What's that in the corners? Those are the 3 arrows. What's the third arrow mean? You know what I mean? Jesus. Sorry. I'm the asshole. I heard it could be about Waco or some other government. Okay. All right. Interesting. Waco's a fascinating story. They really fucked up. FBI fucked up so hard. There's actually a decent, like, fictionalized documentary, a fictionalized TV show about that. I think it's worth watching. And then there was a newer documentary that just came out too. That's also worth watching. Yeah, we're talking about the brave drone operators. You got it, homie. It was the 92nd Infantry Division. It was an infantry division of the German Heer during World War II. There you go. Bad news. Yikes.
There were other unintended consequences, as we know.
Yeah, and of course it's a sad irony. The rebels were inspired by the Vietnamese, and the Empire inspired the U.S. and the Nazis. And now the hero of the rebellion is doing PR for Nazis in real life. Everyone's pointing out Nazi flags when he literally ended his tweet with the hashtag of a Nazi slogan. Yeah, the other day he said Slava Ukraini, right? There it is. Oh, I didn't even catch it. How did I miss this? I literally missed it. That's wild. We don't think he got tricked. He's literally telling you he's a Nazi. Ryan Johnson's a hack, but making him look like a grumpy, boring hag was correct. Get wrecked. You've changed your name. You've been here a while. What was your name before? I'm going to show you 2 different pictures here. This first is the inspiration for the Empire. And the second picture is the inspiration for the Azov Battalion. Oh. I get it. All right. You see the difference? Yeah. Nothing but respect for the brave drone operators. Brave drone operators. Wait, this party's gonna have unlimited juice? It's gonna be off the hook. That was one of my favorite episodes of Arrested Development. Not this one, but the one with the narcoleptic stripper inside the cake. Classic stuff. Classic Arrested Development. I don't know how correct it is, but apparently the number 2's got weird connotations as an angel number. That means the time of purification has come and you must participate. What? That's fucked up. Was that the number on the flag? Or wasn't it 98? Oh, I thought he finally deleted it for a second. It was like it said unavailable.
Я хотів почати з висловлення.
It says 98. So I was thinking that was a division, yeah. He's still up. That's the thing. He's still up. He's leaving the tweet up. Like, how do you not delete this shit? Unless you're a fucking psycho. Yeah, and 92 was on the poster. Thank you. I was just making sure it wasn't the same. I got some more links for you guys if you're enjoying this. George Lucas wrote Star Wars in relation to the U.S. Empire. We've mentioned this a few times. I'm happy to drive the point home. Here, Mark Hamill, the actor in the movie who is representation of good versus evil, speaks to soldiers with a Nazi flag on the wall and ends his tweet with a Nazi slogan. The fascist greeting, Glory to Ukraine, or Slava Ukraini, has been invented in the early 90s by the League of Ukrainian Fascists. Later, this merged with the OUN. The UVO and OUN activists adopted and used this fascist salute. But it's difficult to estimate how frequently. During the trials against several OUN members, some of the OUN defendants from the younger generation performed the greeting in the courtroom frequently. The punishment for performing the salute in court only elevated the status of this greeting among Ukrainian nationalists. Glory to the leader. Another fascist greeting was introduced by the leadership in exile at the Second Great Congress of the OUN in Rome in 1939. After the split into the OUNB and the OUNM, however, the OUNB introduced another fascist salute at the Second Great Congress of the Ukrainian nationalists in Krakow in March of 41. This was the most popular Ukrainian fascist salute and had to be performed according to the instructions of the OUNB leadership by, check this out, raising the right arm, quote, slightly to the right, slightly above the peak of the head, while calling glory to Ukraine and responding glory to the heroes. Now remember, when they say heroes, that refers to actual human beings. You know what's disgusting? It's fucking disgusting this country can broadcast fascist and neo-Nazi symbols and flags on its own PR media, yet receive zero pushback or criticism. Why is it left up to streamers like me to push back on this? They won't do it on mainstream media. And then they call me a tanky for, like, getting up in arms about this or whatever. Japanese is sup, homie. Yeah, he's a propagandized lib, has been told what to believe by mainstream media. But hopefully all these replies to him will open his eyes to what he's been supporting. I mean, that's hopeful. I don't see it. I think he'd have apologized by now. Zero pushback. Seems pretty bad for the post-war political environment, am I right? Twitters don't change boomers' minds. Yep. He's fucking boomer-brained, libbed up. He cannot be fixed. Okay, I'm back from digging. Good shit. 92 refers to the year Combat 18, a neo-Nazi terrorist organization was found. Don't trust the liberals.
No, don't trust the liberals. They will betray you.
How quickly... I know, Potato. How quickly the left went from punching Nazis is cool to doing Nazi apologia. But Marxists are the LARPers I get. Yeah, me. Especially one who's coming from a place of propaganda all around him in his daily life. He's going to double down, triple down. His face is plastered all over U-24. He's not going to back out. I see that. Combat 18 is the name of the organization. All right, so again, 92 refers to the year Combat 18, which was a neo-Nazi terrorist org, was founded. There it is. Thank you. There is no other way. Yes, my father's destiny is my own. Is that what this is about? Combat 18 uses Totenkopf as their symbol. 3rd Panzer Division, huh? We learned that the other day. Yeah, the second one was already taken. My ass off. It was a pleasure meeting with him, he says. It was a pleasure meeting with these neo-Nazis. You know what? I've never had a good time meeting neo-Nazis. Guess that's the difference between me and him. You guys want to see some bad takes? I only have a couple. Mark, here's Rob Rousseau. Mark, I know you think you're helping and doing a good and positive thing here, but the guys you are talking to have a Nazi flag. Delwyn says, they're still Ukrainians fighting Russian invaders. This guy's history began in 2022, right? He doesn't know anything that happened before then. The Nazi ideology can be defeated after the war through dialogue. You know what? That's the thing. I guess we should have told the Jews to debate the Nazis harder, and the Holocaust would have never happened. Is that what they're saying? I cannot roll my fucking eyes hard enough at this. This guy cannot be real. But this is what we were being told at the beginning of the war. When I was like, you know what? Are we sure we want to be arming these Nazis? And people were like, well, we could take away their guns after. I heard that many times. I'm like, what? That's a thing? What, are you going to go around asking people if they're Nazis, number one, and then expect them to tell you the truth, number two, and then number three, expect them to give away their guns willingly? Oh my God, dude. Oh my God. The Jews should have just voted harder. Exactly. If only the Jews were at the beer halls talking to the Nazis, we could have avoided all. We need to bridge this divide. This is Adam something. I mean, Azov something's side account. Yeah. Yeah. At the end of the day, fascism is not really at odds with liberalism. Yeah, the Nazis were famously defeated through the use of dialogue in World War II. D-Day was just a bunch of debaters ending up on the beach. You remember D-Day when they had all these debaters climbing off the boats and stuff, and they got onto the beach and they were just debating the Nazis so fucking hard? That was incredible. Look at that. If Nazis win the war, they'll just embolden them more. They'll believe that... They'll believe even more that they're part of a superior race. Nazi ideology would not be defeated after the Nazis won. Yeah, exactly. It'd be defeated. This is the most brain-dead take I've ever heard in my life. Sometimes supporting Nazis is okay. Shut the fuck up. I think we live in a world where more people need to be told to shut the fuck up. And then look who's liking his tweet. We talked about this yesterday too. They got the straight beam cross. It's called a Balkenkreuz. The Nazis used it. And especially when you match it up with that kind of meme. That kind of PFP. Rethink your life, bozo. Get a real life worth living. I think this is another bad take. Do not be misled by the misinformation being spread about the Black Sun and the Ukrainian insurgent army. They are not Nazis, irrespective of what involvement they once had in World War II. They are patriots defending against an aggressive invading force. This is one of the other bad takes that I saw. I didn't see too many bad takes, to be honest. Stop defending Nazis, Nazi. You keep using that word. Shut the fuck up. No, it's not a joke. They clearly believe in it. These people are broken in their heads. Oh, I better be careful here. Broken. I don't have any other bad takes about this whole thing. He's keeping it up. Happy birthday, John Cryer. It's more important to him to give a happy birthday to John Cryer than learn. Getting dragged in the quote tweets here too. You love to see it. I see nothing. I know nothing. Always go to the quote tweets. It's so fun. Is this guy Jewish too? Oh my God, he's Jewish. I sort of, that didn't click the first time I saw it. He was responding to a Jewish person, pointing out that a group of people he's in the video call with have a neo-Nazi flag on the wall. This is the same rhetoric liberals used in the 30s to absolve themselves when anti-fascists pointed out that they were amicable towards Nazis. It sounds the same. Fucking liberals. I don't care if someone's a Nazi if they're Ukrainian, I support them. Isn't that fucked up? He's had so long to figure this out, and he's not doing it. He's pretending to not know. He's playing deaf, dumb, and ignorant to the point of total blindness. Kind of demonstrates that you don't care who you're in bed with, asshole. These guys. These guys. Well, not her. He's silent on every U.S. invasion, silent on the U.S. looting Syria, silent on Israel's settler colonialism. But you'll be a cheerleader for fascists who provoked Russia in a proxy war dreamed up by the West. That's correct. Yeah, saying I didn't know it was a Nazi flag doesn't excuse you from supporting Nazis. Grow up. Yeah, why do you think they put it up? They're using your celebrity to spread their ideology. They're spreading Nazi ideology through their official accounts, and you support it. Exactly. That's how this functions. That's not going to make them less emboldened, now is it? Seeing their fascist-ass flag hanging out with Mark Hamill, that's going to embolden them to do this more. I absolutely think it's a proxy war. They want to weaken Russia. You need to understand the dialectical forces here. I think a dialectical historical understanding will help you understand that the West has trying to been fucking up Russia's shit since the revolution, at least. Russia's still recovering from the neoliberal shock therapy. Right? The West is still trying to maintain their unipolar world. Is falling apart. It's becoming more and more multipolar. Weakening Russia is part of the unipolar hegemonic fight. Russia is a threat to global hegemony. The United States owning and ruling classes know this. The United States owning and ruling classes would be desperate to balkanize Russia, would be desperate to balkanize China, and neoliberalize the shit out of it and exploit their workers for the benefit of the very few. All to maintain the dollar system and all to maintain hegemony, which arguably is the dollar system. I think it is a proxy war. But you also cannot remove the fact that they are selling weapons. They be doing that. Line go up for the military-industrial complex. Truman Doctrine, got the Marshall Plan, etc., etc. BRICS good. BRICS good. Multipolar rise. BRICS good. The multipolar rise will have its ups and downs, but unipolar hegemony is not maintainable. It's not sustainable. It hurts the working class of the world. Now, with that said, moving to a multipolar world, there will be growing pains and there will be working class people hurt as well. But how else do we get out of this? How to get out of this, you guys? My mentions are off the charts. I have to do something about this. Everyone follow me on Twitter. Oh, this is the guy in my mentions now. Typical chughead. Hasn't done even a scant amount of research into the origins and involvements of the Black Sun in World War II. Are you kidding me? I've done more than the vast majority of human beings on the planet. Are you kidding? You're talking to me right now? Many supported Germany without embracing the ideology. Yo, many supported Nazis is not the argument you think it is, dumb fuck. Get out of my mentions. Wow. That's a Nazi, you guys. Typical tank. Oh my God, Mr. Disco, I've seen this idiot before. typical tanky doesn't realize just because a country has a marginal population of neo-Nazis, you're minimizing the problem of neo-Nazis. You're doing Nazi apologia, you dumb fuck. Get out of my life. Wow, I forgot about Zelensky saying Stepan Bandera is a hero for some percentage of Ukrainians, and that's normal. That's cool, he says. But Dan, I thought he was a Jew. Well, I don't know. How do you explain this? If I were a Jew, I wouldn't say this. I don't know. That's me, you know? Oh, actually, I'm not a Jew, and I wouldn't say that. I don't know. Like, some people are just broken in their heads. What are you going to do? Yeah. Don't give guns to Nazis, just bullets at high speeds. Yeah, why will they ban communist parties, but they won't ban Nazis? Curious. Didn't they just get a brand new Bandera Avenue in Kiev? They have a Bandera Avenue in Kiev. The public just voted on naming another street after another Nazi collaborator. But I think we're still seeing whether or not that's going to come to fruition. But yeah, it's like Bandera Avenue goes right through Ukraine, Kiev or something, right? Stepan Banderi Avenue. What could go wrong? Oh my fucking god. Then it becomes Romana Shakevich Avenue. On the other side of the bridge, on the other side of the bridges, it becomes another Nazi collaborator. Oh my god, dude. I did not know that. It makes it worse somehow. Just call it Diaspora Highway at this point, am I right? So the public voted for Nazi-named streets, but I'm supposed to think that there aren't that many Nazis in Ukraine. Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, I tell you what. I think that's going to come to the end of this segment of my stream today. What I'm going to do is go ahead and wrap up this segment. I'm gonna hit the end record button, and I may upload this to YouTube.
It's too damn hot.
Make sure you like and subscribe. And come on over. If you're watching on YouTube, come on over to Twitch, where I stream almost every day, and support my content. Subscribe on Twitch. You can support on Patreon, or you could do a one-time tip. I appreciate your help. All right, that's going to be the segment. If you're watching my live stream, stick around, because we'll be right back after this break.